For number 7, instead of x over 2, I got 1 half x. We accept that.
For number 7, instead of what, you've got what?
Instead of x over 2, I got 1 half x.
Yes, same thing.
You do number 7.
Number 7. Yes, I will do number 7. Take a look at number 7, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the deal with problem number 7. Again, remember, you are not allowed to just cross things off. You probably should have a piece of paper or something, or at least figuring out the thing here. Do I have a test here somewhere? Probably. Hopefully. Somewhere. What number test is this for? You were here on. Didn't I give somebody one to give to somebody?
Could have been Monday.
Remember on this, you're not allowed just to cross off like these 6x's. Why? Because in order to do that, they have to be multiplication, it has to be factors. Okay, the only way to cross off 6x plus 12 would be if there was a 6x plus 12 on top. So the first thing you want to do is you want to try and see if you can make these into factors. In other words, what can you take out of these? Well, out of the top, I can take a 3 and an x out. If I take a 3x out, I'm left with x plus 2, correct? What can I take out of the bottom? What can I factor these out to? Take a 6 out, and you're left with an x plus 2. Now these things are factors of each other. And at this point, since it's multiplication, since these are identical, I can cross off the x plus 2 and the x plus 2. Which leaves me with 3x plus over 6. And now you could just reduce this fraction. 3 goes into 3 once and into 6 twice. So x over 2 is the answer. Steph said she put 1 half x. That is the same thing. So note to self, factor out what you can. When it becomes multiplication, when they become factors of each other, then you can cross them out. Not until that point. That help? Is that on this page?
I know what to do, just what do they mean?
Determine which of the values below are part of the solution set of the inequality. Well, the basic gist of this is you want to solve this. Solve this and then see if these fit in that answer. So if I have 5 minus 2x is less than 9, first thing I would do would be to do what? Subtract my 5 over. Subtract my 5 over. So negative 2x is less than 4. And here's where you have to be careful. I need to get rid of what's in front of the x, which is a negative 2. If you divide by a negative, this sign is going to change. Because you're changing this to its opposite. So you divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, you end up with a negative 2 answer. So x is greater than negative 2. So they're asking you which of these fits that x is greater than negative 2. Well, this one is the only one that doesn't. So everything else besides negative 2 would be the answer. Negative 1, 0, 1, and 2 are all numbers that are greater than negative 2. Wait, what?
I don't get that.
This part?
Yeah.
The answers have to be, x has to be greater than negative 2. So you look at what choices they gave you. Negative 2 is not greater than negative 2. It is negative 2, but it's not greater, so you cross that out. The rest of these are greater than negative 2. Gwen,
Number 8.
number 8. Number 8. Number 8. First step to doing number 8 is what? What did I tell you is probably a good idea to do for number 8? Steph?
Put everything like all the same level.
Yeah, I usually when I do these bring them all to the top just because fractions kind of throw you for a loop. So step number 1, move everything to the top. So this becomes a to the negative 2, b to the negative 1. I move the b up, and that's going to be times, I keep my ab, bring my c up, it becomes c cubed, plus, bring my a up, it's a cubed, b cubed, c. That's my parenthesis thing there. Stop me if you didn't catch that. I just like not to deal with the fraction part of it. Okay, now when you do the multiplication across, when you do multiplying across there, a to the negative 2 times a is an a to the negative 1. B negative 1, b positive 1 means they go away because that's b to the 0 power. Except I don't want to cross that off because I need to see it again. So there's no b, and then the c cubed just gets put there because there's no other c's there. Plus, and then I have to multiply this times this. A to the negative 2, a to the positive 3 is just a. B negative 1, b 3, add those together, you get b squared. There's still no c there, so the c stays. That is my answer, except for you're not allowed to keep negative exponents in your answer, so you just need to adjust that by moving this a to the bottom. So you end up with c cubed over a plus a b squared c. Stop me. Do I need to go over anything of that again? Alex, you can't see it from that close. Can't get you too much closer than that. Steph?
For number 11, when I did it, I did the thing where I did elimination. I got like y equals 1.5 instead of y equals 4.
You did elimination.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you change these, move the x's over here?
No.
Or you
I like times
you just left them the way they are? Did you leave them just like they are? Okay, well, and there's just where you're going to have to be careful. All right, tell me what you did.
I times each one by -2 on the bottom.
You multiplied the bottom by negative 2. So this became negative 2y equals negative 4x minus 2.
Yeah.
All right, so you added them together at that point, in which you would have gotten y and a negative 2y is a negative y, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The x's would have gone away, and negative y equals a negative 3.
Which is y equals 3.
So then y, you have to change the sign, and then boy, y equals 3. Is that what you got?
No, I got y equals 1.5 because instead of like subtracting, I didn't do the y part.
And then you put 3 in for that. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 1 is 11 for, I don't know.
Can you do that?
I'm sorry, that's wrong because you put the 3 in for y. 3 in for y, add 1, x equals 1. Now, generally speaking, if you're going to do that, my recommendation is that you put both the x and the y on one side and the number by itself on the other, just because in the end I think it'll be less confusing. But I mean, you can do it that way, it just ends up being a little strange. Where I move the stuff around?
What's the easiest one?
In this one, I think the easiest way probably would be substitution. Because if you take, if you take, let's say, it doesn't matter which one because they're all kind of the same. If you take this, you need to substitute it in for y right here. So you end up with 2x plus 1, that's your y over here, equals 4x minus 1. Did I do that right? Yeah. So then what happens here? You need to bring your x's to one side, your numbers to the other. I would subtract 2x, and get 2x. Add my negative 1 to the other side, add my negative 1 over there. 2x equals positive 2, so x is going to equal 1. And just put 1 in for x, and y is going to equal 3. You could graph it too if you really like it. How?
Number 15. I know what it like it's 0, but I'm not like which one is it? 105, 0, so
There is good notes to write yourself. You can. The deal with that is you can never, ever, 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 ever divide by 0. Which one's 15? Gosh, it's too big. Find the slope of the vertical line, which I don't see. Is it this one here?
yeah.
All right, here's the deal. And here's how you can remember, okay? Slope is what? Slope is rise over run. Or the rise is the up and down, and the run is the how much it goes sideways. And if you look at this line, okay, the rise on it actually goes up forever. Okay, but the run, how wide is it? It's no wide. It's 0 on the bottom. Okay, the run is also called the change in x. How much does the x value change? It doesn't. Okay, but a general rule to yourself would be if it's an x equals line, if x equals something like this does, which was what, x equals 5, okay, that is an undefined slope. If it's a y equal, it has a slope of 0. You can have horizontal lines. That's a 0 slope because you get it doesn't move up or down, so you get 0 on the top of the fraction. You can't have a vertical line because you get 0 on the bottom of the fraction, and that gives you no answer.
So the y is mostly.
If it's a y equals line, or a vertical line, or a horizontal line, I'm sorry, then it is y equals. Harker.
Is number 2 on the test?
You won't have to do number 2 on the test if that shows. Alyssa, any questions? Nothing? You've got it all. Perfect. Emma Kate.
How did I do wrong?
Number 1. Number 1. A photograph in the shape of a rectangle has a length of x plus 3 inches and a width of x minus 3. What is the area of the photograph? So you drew the photograph, a nice little square, wrote its dimensions, which were x plus 3 times x minus 3, right? And then, in order to find the area of that, what do you have to do? Multiply these two together. So it's x plus 3 times x minus 3, and when you multiply two binomials together, what do you use? That little FOIL thing. So let's do that out. First, outers, inners, last. What do I get, Emma Kate, if I multiply the two first numbers together? X squared. Now if I do the outside ones, what do I get if I take x times negative 3? You get a negative 3x. If I do the two inside ones, what do I take it if I have a positive 3 times x? A 3x. And when you put a 3x and a negative 3x together, you get no middle term. And then you have 3 times negative 3, which is a negative 9. Which, remember, children, we talked about this. When you have an identical binomial, except for one's positive, one's negative in the middle, there's never going to be a middle term. You'll get the first term and you'll get the last term. The outside and the inner ones are opposites and they will cross off. Beautiful thing. Kelly, enough.
Number 13.
Number 13. 13. A shoe store is having a sale 25% off all books. What is the discount and the new price of a pair of books that originally cost $95? Here, kids, we're doing this in 7th grade right now. This is what I would do. I find this is probably the absolute easiest of all ways possible. If you're talking about a discount or a markup, okay, when you do your percent box or ratio box, you start with the original price. This is a sale price, so it's minus the discount. And the bottom one is what you finally pay, your final price. Okay, that's what I would do. This is percents and this is the actual dollar numbers here. Take a look, see here. I don't want that. Let's go green. Ugly green. Like that. Original price is always 100%. Always. What percent am I getting to take off? 25%. So if I have original price of 100% and take off 25%, what percent am I actually going to pay? 75%. Now, what do I know about the shoes? The original cost is $95, so that has to go here. And they're asking me for the discount and the new price. I need to find both of those. But once you find one, you can just subtract and find the other. So the question is, which proportion do I want to do first? It doesn't really matter. I'll do this one. Yeah, 100 over 25 equals 95 over what number? I would reduce this fraction. I'd make it 4 over 1. And then there's no other easy way to do this rather than cross multiplication. 4 times n, the diagonals, equals 95 times 1. So you just take $95 and divide it by 4, gives you 2, 80, 15, 3 is 12, you get 30. $23.75 is your discount. And then subtract 23 from that, what do you get? 61 and a quarter? 71 and a quarter. 71, 25. Easiest way to figure that out there. Oh look, Alex broke out the glasses. Love it.
Number
30?
3.
33? Find the degree of the monomial. How do you find degrees of monomials? And this is what I write in my notes. You just add the exponents of the variables. That is its degree. 3 plus 1 plus 4. It is an 8th degree monomial. 3 plus 1 plus 4. Just add the exponents of the variables. By the way, if you'd like to review this whole pretest, just go to www.justconfusing.com. Enough.
Number 5.
So you can go back and study it all over again.
I got just -2x.
Well, let's take a look. See here. First thing, I always like to write these up and down. 6x over y squared minus 8x over y squared. When you add fractions, you have to come up with common denominators, and fortunately for you, this already is, so you know when you add or subtract, your answer is going to have a y squared in the bottom because we don't change the bottom of the fractions. What do I get when I take 6x minus 8x? 6 x's, and I take 8 x's away, I have 2 x's in the whole.
Yeah, for some reason I just like that rid of
No can do, mon frere. That's my French for the day. Nolan, 17. Maybe we should do these in order. 17? What is this? 20? Oh, 17 is a wonderful, wonderful problem. Now you only have to get close, by the way, for 17. You don't have to actually give it an answer. It says estimated here. A fruit stand sells 3 pounds of tomatoes for $2. Graph the relationship and use the graph to estimate the cost of 7 pounds. Now the problem with that is, if you're graphing this thing, they only give you 1 point. They only told you that 3 pounds cost $2, and now you're in a quandary because you don't know what to do. Well, if it's a proportional relationship, which this would be, what is for sure absolutely one other point that you could use? Steph? Yeah, if you buy 0 pounds of these tomatoes, you're going to pay $0. So there's your second point. You have the point 0, 0, and you've got the point 3, 2. So, and you definitely need to do this on graph paper, unlike what I'm going to do here. Okay, I'll get relatively close. The x-axis is how many pounds, and the y-axis is how many dollars. So we know at 0, 0, 0 pounds is going to cost you $0. 3 pounds, 1, 2, 3, is going to cost you $2. So there is the line that you can draw. You take your little ruler, draw your line, and they want you, based on that, you'll have an actual graph there, to estimate the cost of 7 pounds. So here's 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, 6 pounds, 7 pounds. You need to know what the y value is at 7 pounds. So you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I think it was 4 something. My line's a little off. It fell somewhere right about here, and they said, well, that's close to $4. And if you had had $4.50, that'd be fine. I think they said $4.75 or $4.70 or something. Could you find the exact price of it? How would you find the exact price? Well, you could figure out how much each pound costs by just dividing it into it. Okay, which would be what? Huh? Yeah, but you can't. We don't pay 4 2/3 dollars. $4.66, $4.70. Again, they're asking you for an estimate here, so there's no way you'd say $4.66 because it'd be $4.75, maybe $4.70, but they want you to be able to graph it and show the relationship there. I will look for the graph, by the way, on the test. Kylie.
20.
20.
Stop.
Barry is selling baseball cards. He sold 2 for $7 and 3 for $10. What will Barry charge for 5 baseball cards if he keeps selling the cards at the same rate? Number 52. I'm going to guess 52 was the direct variation lesson. Somebody have the book? Is that what it was? Where y equals k times x.
The equation of a line giving 2 points.
Oh, is what? Because I can think of at least a dozen ways to do this problem. 52 is what equation of a line?
So equation of line is given 2 points.
Yeah, it's given 2 points.
Well,
Y squared minus y.
yeah, they're asking you,
I just figure out the pattern.
Yeah, I.
but I don't know if does the pattern follow true.
Yeah, because I got
Why
Why
go
do you
up?
Well,
one,
here's the deal. Here's the deal. If you look at this, if you sell 2 cards for $7, that means they cost $3.50 each.
That's enough.
Yeah, but that doesn't work for this because 3 cards at $3.50 each gives you $10.50. So the way you're going to have to do it, and the way the book wants you to do it, apparently, is they want you to, again, you're going to have to use a piece of graph paper. You are going to have to use these 2 points and graph. Well, actually, what they want you to do is they want you to find the equation of that line. Okay, which means you have to do what Gwen said there. If 2 for $7, 3 for $10, here are your x and y values. This actually gets a little complicated. So the slope is going to equal 10 minus 7 over 3 minus 2. So your slope actually equals 3 over 1. What did they say that was a $15? What did they say? The answer was $16. Well, and here's the deal. Okay, if this is your slope for the line, y equals mx plus b. If you put 3 in for the slope, y equals 3x plus b, you need to figure out what the letter b is. You're going to have to take one of these 2 points and put it in for x and y to find out what b is. Y equals 10, x equals 3, so 10 equals 3 times 3 plus b, which means 9. What does b equal? Subtract your 9, you get 1. So the line equation you use is y equals 3x plus 1.
So B equals 1.
And then at that point you put 5 in for x. If you put 5 in for x, guess what you get? 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. So, note to self would be, you need to find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line by finding slope. And then you have to find what letter B is. And the way you find the letter B is once you find the slope, you write the equation out and plug in one of those 2 points they gave you, an x and y point, and it'll tell you what B is. And then you can figure it out from there. Work?
Well, I just said price up $3 each. So that's it.
And it probably will work as well that way.
Wait, how do you do it?
But I can't explain it that way because that's just more logical reasoning than the mathematical end of it, and I gotta give you the math.
So do you have to do that? If we do the logical reason?
I don't care.
What'd you do, Katie?
And 7 plus 3 is 10, so that's, and then 4 would be 13, and then 5 is 16.
I said it went up 1 and then it went up 3 on the other side, so the slope was 3 over 1.
That's way easier.
And then
Again,
since it
I
went
mean,
up 2.
for this one maybe so, but for all of them, I can't
What
say
about for
that.
tomorrow?
That I can't tell you. I mean, you can look and say that each card went up $3 and then keep adding, but
What was the answer to 19?
answer to 19. The answer to 19 was -3, 4 slope and intercept y intercept 3. Other questions?
Wait, what's that?
Nothing on any other ones. Folks, you heard it here. I asked. Any more questions? Nobody. Wait, Kelly does have one more. Yes.
16. I think it's, I got my decimal last
Did you change this to a decimal?
one.
1.25 times 15.
Oh, I just did like 1, 2, 5.
No, that would be way small. You might move it 2 places back. 125% means you're going to get bigger than 15. If you did 0.125, you actually did 1/8 of 15. It would end up with like 2 something. 1 point something.
Yeah, I got 1.87.
That's exactly what I
No. You have to only move the decimal back 2 places. It's 1.25. Or another way you could do that is change 125% into a fraction, which is what? 5/4, is it not? 5/4 times 15, which would give you 75 over 4, You could divide 4 into 75 and you'll get the same answer, I hope. 4 goes into 35 how many times? 8 times? 32, you get 30. 8.75? 18.75, I'm
What's
sorry.
the answer to 14?
Answer to 14, as I know it, was 0.3 is greater than 1.2 plus n.
That was the,
I'm gonna look at that one because I don't know what, that's all I have.
That's what I know.
Quick problem 14, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It said, that's all, it didn't say to solve it, it said translate this into an inequality. So 0.3 is greater than the sum of 1.2 and a. They didn't tell you to actually solve it, they just said to write the inequality that that stands for. So that is all you needed for that one.
you did 19.
Why didn't you ask me to do 19 when I was over at 19? Oh, this one is so difficult. Problem number 19, note to self, is you must solve it for y. There is no other way to do this than to solve it for y, because that puts it in slope-intercept form. So if you have 3x plus 4y equals 12, what's the first thing I need to solve that for y?
Like 0.
No, subtract the 3x to the other side. So 4y equals, I subtract 3x to the other side and get minus 3x plus 12. Now how do I solve that for y? Kylie, how do I solve 4y equals negative 3x plus 12 for y? Divide by 4. That gets the y by itself. I have to divide everything by 4. And my answer then, my equation is a negative 3/4 x plus 3, because 4 goes into 12. Then they asked you for the slope. What is the slope? Right in front of the x. What is the y-intercept? Positive 3. Solve for y. I suppose if you wanted to graph it, you could have, you'll still get the same answer, but
What if you just divided 40 by the, that's what I did. That's what I did.
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Like, you put 0, like, in for x, and then divide it.
X and Y
So
intercepts.
then x, yeah, x.
But they're not asking for x. You can get the y-intercept from that. That doesn't give you the slope.
I got it right.
Cal, if you get it right and you get every one that is exactly like that right, that's good. But I'm just telling you, this is the way. I mean, I understand how you get the y-intercept because you put 0 in for x, y equals 3. But where'd you come up with your slope of negative 3/4? Where did you get this is the question. Okay, well if you graph it and you have, if you want to graph it, and then figure it out by the graph, that's your prerogative. I'm just telling you, graphing can lead you astray because it's not an exact science. You make a mistake on where your points are, something gets wrong, whatever. This would be the way that mathematically you would go. Other ones. So much time. So little time. Okay, now.
Another time, I got it right, but what's the fast way to?
Sometimes there isn't faster ways. The only way that I think, I mean, rather than you making all the multiples of it, this is the only faster way that maybe would work, is step number 1, prime factorize. And this may or may not be faster. Well, 7 is nice because it just becomes 7. There's no other factors of 7. What are the factors of 8? 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. And 10 is what? 2 times 5. Then, after you prime factorize, you take which group has the most of whatever factor. Take group with most of each factor. In other words, this one has the most 2's, this one has the most 5's, and this one has the most 7's. And when you remultiply that, you will have the least common multiple. 8 times 5 is 40, 40 times 7 is 280. I don't know if that's quicker or slower than what you did, but that would be the mathematical way rather than the trial and error.
Did you like go through all the multiples of the Kelly?
How did you do that?
Did you write all the multiples?
Yeah.
Did you get it right? It would take you a while to get up to 280 by 7's.
It's
You have
like
to write
40
through
and
40.
7 multiples.
Have this.
It's 40.
How long did it take you to do that?
She was like, Dad's taking forever.
She said that to you?
Yeah, and I tried to do it that way.
By the way, if you're gonna do it, Kelly, if you're gonna do it your way, if you're going to though, always start with the highest number and then look to see when you get to something that goes, those other two go into, okay? Because if you start with 10, you've only got to get up to, you only have to do it 28 times, you get to 280. And then you can look back and say, well, I know that 7 goes into that, and maybe 8 goes into it. Otherwise, yes, that would be quite a long 2, 4, 6,
What's
8,
taking
10.
out like an entire box?
What all we got here?
When are you gonna eat the fish tomorrow?
I didn't say I was going to.
We're making flyers.
You'd have to clear it by the principal, because that could be, like, it might be too inhumane to eat a live fish.
Why?
You said you could
It's yours.
It's like,
God, just do it for the 8th graders.
Nobody has anything else on any of these other ones? All right, you heard it here. Nobody has any of them?
I asked a lot of questions. I don't know. I asked